afternoon and good evening to you. I'm going to look up the tube. Hope well today. Hope you're in grand all's well in your world. Hello there. Welcome to another Q&A Wednesday. Let's get to question one, shall we? Okay, so question one today is I'm having trouble talking my fingers into doing some of the chords in I Could Die For You. Any hints? Any hints? Not particularly. It's just a case of doing it over and over again for your hand to learn. I mean, like I say, some of the chords, especially like the B at 11 in I Could Die For You, or like that, there are pretty beastly chords, and I think one way to kind of get around it is like John's hand, when he plays it, doesn't automatically go to that position. He kind of walks his hand in, and his little finger's kind of the last one to get kind of there, but it is just a case of just keep going at it. It's not excuse me, it's not a very immediate thing to be able to kind of you can see there's like a little kind of like half a second it takes me to get my little finger in place. So just take your time with it, just keep going at it over and over and over again. Your hand will learn and your little finger will learn, but don't feel that you need to kind of like just be able to kind of like put that chord on like plonk, because that won't happen. It's probably possible, but I haven't seen John ever do it. He kind of like strums it first and then gets his little finger down like I say, like a half a second or so after. It's not immediately there straight away, so just try and get that part of the chord first, just like your first finger, second finger and third finger, and then try and get your little finger in as quick as you can onto the high E string to get that full chord. But don't rush it, and they are big stretch chords, so if they do start to hurt your hand or your wrist, then don't take a break, because it's really important not to kind of like strain your hand. But as far as tips go, I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of, really, is just kind of like keep at it. Your hand will learn to eventually kind of like, remember these shapes and figure them out how it needs to kind of be. It will eventually kind of click. But that is it's a difficult song to play because of those stretch chords. They're absolutely monstrous. And then this one. It's mad, that song. It's gorgeous, but it's mad. The chords he uses and the shapes he uses are pretty insane with all the added notes. So there's no real hints or tips. It's just a case of doing it over and over again. Your hand will learn. Your little finger doesn't have to be down immediately to kind of like to get those chords. Just give it like, if you're coming from that to this chord, give it a second. Like, get that top half of the chord first. And then on your second strum, try and get your little finger in position for the second kind of strum, so to say. So, most of the time your little finger's down, but for that little opening bit of when you get to that chord, it's not there. So, but there's no real hints and tips. It's just a case of, make sure your hand's nice and warmed up as well. Don't do it if your hand's kind of like, if you haven't played. It's not a good idea to kind of like jump into doing stretch chords straight away. It can damage your hand and make your fingers go all funny. So yeah, just make sure your hand's nice and warmed up, and it's not cold and crampy, because you can do yourself some damage. You could run yourself a cropper there. So yeah, that's what I would say, is just get that top bit of chord and put the little finger in afterwards, and just try and get it there as fast as you can, and just keep going at it and at it. And the more you do it, the faster you'll get at it, and eventually you'll nail it. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question. Moving on to question 2 now. Okay, so question 2 is, I recently... I can't see! Get out of my eye! So his hair just dangling in my eye, like, that stung. Okay, anyway, question 2, back to before hair incident. I recently bought a Zoom G2. Could you help me by telling me some of your settings for any Red Hot Chili Pepper stuff? The only setting I can really tell you is my chorus setting. as that's the only setting I have in the G2 right now. I don't have a step filter programmed in, and I don't know what the setting is for that at this point. Excuse me, at this point in time. I will get to that at some point. But the only one I can tell you is my chorus setting that I use for the, you know, for. It's for, you know, sol to squeeze and stuff like that. So that is crank it round. So the setting I have for chorus on my Zoom G2, I've got the 1U, but it's the same pedal as the G2. But is I have it to the CH mode, the chorus, not the stereo chorus, not the SC, the CH chorus, and I have it set from left to right as you're looking at the pedal. So the gain one is set to 50, the tone one is set to 40, and the level is set to 50. So it's CH 50, 40, 50. As long as 40 is in the middle, you're okay. And other than that, it's like I said the other day in my my pedal board video, it's that's the amp on its own. The kind of John Frusciante sound comes from the jackhammer. Really, I mean, I can get it from a CL120, but I don't normally. I'll set the amp as clean as possible and then just use pedal. So that's not really coming from the Zoom, really. The Zoom's only really doing chorus when I want it to. I don't think I have anything else. I really don't think I have anything else. No, sorry, I don't actually have anything else programmed in at this point in time for Chili Pepper stuff. That's literally the only kind of John effect, if you will, that I've got programmed into my G2. So, but yeah, I hope that's at least that's something. There's that really cool kind of like really nice chorus sound. So yeah, I mean, I hope that's helped you out with the chorus. Other than that, it's that's my cover. That's the bank. That's the patch A7. A6, sorry, is chorus. A7 is just clean, and A7 is mainly just the jackhammer on this board. On the other one, it's the golden plexi, which gives me the John Frusciante kind of clean. But yeah, anyway, I'm really sorry about that. It's not really much of an answer, is it? Sorry, I'll do a video at some point on the G2. Well, but. On the Zoom pedal in general, and I'll go really in depth and get some other sounds and whatnot. I promise I'll get round to that at some point. So, but yeah, so I hope that's at least, you know, given the chorus effect that I use anyway. So, moving on to question 3 now. Okay, so question 3. What do you think about bias effects? I don't honestly know what I think. I haven't actually tried any of their stuff. I've never got an amp with a couple of pedals. I haven't actually tried any of their stuff, so I can't really comment 100%. I mean, I've heard demos and watched demos on YouTube and stuff like that, and it seems like really good stuff, but as for my own personal experience, I can't comment. I ain't tried any. You also said, do you think it's better to get kind of like invest in just similar pedals? I mean, I can't say either way. Like I say, I haven't tried any of the bias effects stuff, so I can't really comment. I don't want to say yes, just go and get it, or no, don't bother, because I can't honestly say kind of like, you know, wholeheartedly 100% what it does and what it doesn't do. So I can't really say, I'm afraid. I know that's not really an answer, but what I would say is the same as anything with this kind of stuff. If you can go and try it for as long as you can, as long as they'll let you try it. Because if you plug it in, and after about half an hour of messing around, if you're not completely happy, or even after 10 minutes, if you're not completely happy with what the pedal or the amp or whatever, the guitar or whatever is doing, then it's not for you. You'll know pretty immediately if it works for you or if it doesn't work for you. So like I said, I can't really comment on the bias effect stuff. I ain't really tried any, but there's nowhere around me that does that kind of thing, so I can't really comment 100% on that. But I will say, you know, go and try it out if you can, and see how you get on with it, and see if it feels right to you. If it doesn't feel right, don't bother, and go for kind of like just individual similar pedals, so to say. But yeah, sorry, it's not really an answer, is it? I do apologise. That's terrible, Dave. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to move on to question 4, though. Sorry. Move on to question 4. Okay, so question 4 is another question I don't really have an answer for again, so I'm really sorry about this. This is going to sound terrible. I'm just useless today. Go to bed, Dave. You're no good. Anyway, question 4. Any tips on how to get the John tone out of the CR120, the CR120 combo instead of the head? You spoke about, like, you tried some of the settings I had, but it didn't really kind of translate to the CR120C. I don't actually have access to the CR120C, but from what I heard, it's kind of, they didn't differ too much, to be honest with you, but it's really hard to kind of explain it without actually kind of like being there and actually tweaking the amp for you. And the thing is, my settings won't work for you. Like, you know, they might get you close, but they won't work for you because you don't have my leads, and you know, you don't have the guitars. It's really difficult to say, here's the setting, and Bob's your uncle, blah blah blah. It's not as simple as that. It is really difficult to kind of like, you know, get to kind of like tune your amp to you, so to say, by being me. If that makes any sense. It's really difficult to kind of like, you know, I can only guesstimate through kind of like, you know, kind of like hearing what you use, so to say. But the CR120C doesn't sound 100% too dissimilar to the CR120. So if you're having trouble with John's sound, what I would say is run the gain. It's been such a long time since I played the CR120C, but I do remember it being very identical to the CR120. So I would run the gain between 3 and 4. Use the dirty channel only. Don't use the clean channel. You run the gain between 3 and 4, like maybe 3 1/4, 3 1/2. Bass, I would say you want around, because it's a combo, so you'll probably want it a bit more than the head. I would say you probably want that around maybe 4 or 5. Because it's such a big amp, the CR120C, it does generate a lot of bass, so maybe just 4 actually. Middle, that's going to be kind of like the that's going to be the brightness you want to be using. Treble, forget the treble totally, especially if you're using single coils. And have the channel volume, the dirty channel volume, on 10. And just use the master to regulate the volume. But forget the treble altogether, turn that all the way off, and use the mid to kind of brighten it up, so to say. I don't know, let's see what we can do quick. Can we just, Right, so, at this point in time, I'm going to turn the treble all the way off, volume on the CR120's dirty channel is all the way up. I'm going to put the gain to about 3 1/4. I'm going to put the bass to about 4. This might be a bit too boomy in here, but I've got the mids on 3, bass on 4, and gain about 3 1/4. Too much low end on that, I feel. And it's not quite there. So, boosting the gain now to 3 1/2. So the setting I've got, this is just really quick and, you know, rough in the moment. The setting here right now is volume is on 10, treble is all the way off, mid is just below 4. It's like literally just below 4. It's like a smidgen below 4. Bass is at 2 and gain is at just below 4 again. It's just over 3 1/2 or 3.5 if you will. So it's just basically over between 3 and 4, like, you know, if that's 3, that's 4. It's like there, so to say. It's borderline 4. Just gives me. So that's where just I say just quickly, that's kind of like that might be an idea. But say forget the treble altogether. Use the mid dial on the CR120C to kind of add the brightness, so to say, and like use the gain. Let's put it up to. I'm going to put the gain up to 4 quick. Maybe even have gain on 4, so to say. It might even work even better. And that's the DS2. I'm a bit loud right now though because I've messed around with all the settings. But yeah, try that setting. See how that works for you. Try volume on 10, treble on 0, mid on about 3 to 4. Try it either way. And try bass on 2 and gain on 4 and see how you get on. And let me know in the comment section below if you need any more help. But it is really difficult to kind of like say really because I don't have access to a CR120C to kind of like to be able to really dial it in, so to say, which is a shame really because I love that amp. But yeah, anyway, I hope that's answered that question anyway. I hope that's kind of like been at least a little bit of help. Yeah, in the moment dialing in of the amp there, everybody. So yeah, moving on to question 5 now, is it? Yes, question 5 now. Okay, so this is a really difficult Q&A today because there's a lot of questions that I'm struggling with. So I hope I'm answering them okay for you. I mean, if not, like I say, you can always come around and beat me up. But anyway, question 5. I'm joking, by the way. Please don't come around and beat me up. I'll go into hiding. Or get in, like, a fetal position. Don't hurt me, I'm fragile. Anyway, question 5. Stop being weird. Can you recommend some good but not too expensive headphones to plug into my Fender Practice amp? Do you have a dog? Be quiet. I've never really ever used headphones in an amp because I've never liked the sound that I get out of any amp. I've tried it in all sorts of amps, headphones in and for quiet practice, and I don't actually get on with the sound. It always sounds dead like fizzy, really kind of bright and nasty, and I've never liked it, but I understand it's kind of important for quiet practice. Sometimes, like, headphones. Again, I only own one set of headphones as well, and I've had them for ages. They're TDK headphones, and they're really, really good. And they weren't very expensive, but they're really, really good. And, but I don't really know. I mean, I know, like, amp companies like Marshall and Orange are now doing headphones, and they're supposed to sound brilliant, so that might be something to look into. Like, Marshall do headphones and Orange do Dark Terror headphones, and they're supposed to sound brilliant. But whether they do in an amp or not, I don't know. I've never used that function on an amplifier before. I don't like it. So, again, I can't really comment 100% because the only headphones I've ever plugged into an amp are my TDK ones, which sound really nice when I'm recording and mixing, if I'm mixing, like, at late night kind of stuff or this and the other. But as far as plugging into an amp, I don't like the sound of plugging into an amp. But again, I understand it's very important for quiet practice. It's a really difficult one to answer again. I'm really sorry about today's Q&A, everybody. It's just gone wrong, hasn't it? It's just terrible today. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say anything will do, but like, it might be worth just kind of like maybe going to a guitar shop and asking them for their opinion, but they might try and fob you off with something then that's not actually what you want. It's really difficult because, like I say, headphone things on an amp aren't normally that great anyway, so you're always kind of like having to compromise. So you never know, cheaper headphones that cut down on certain frequencies might actually make it sound better than really good headphones that have a lot of frequencies in them. It's really difficult to say. It is really, really difficult to say. I would say look into the Orange ones or the Marshall headphones, or what else is there? I can't think of any other. Just off my plectrum. I can't think of any other headphones. I'm not really that kind of. I don't use headphones unless I'm recording, and the ones I've got do me quite okay. But I've never really had to kind of like shush myself up, so to say. So because I don't like headphones. If I play my amps. I just normally play my guitar on its own, just acoustically. But I understand it's really, you know, people like to hear that sound, and that's cool. But yeah, that's kind of difficult for me to answer because I've never really done it. Oh my god, this is a train wreck of a Q&A. If anybody has any suggestions out there for this fellow on headphones that sound really good when plugged into an amp, let me know in the comment description. Help me out, YouTube, I'm struggling! Oh, I can't do it anymore. I'm going to move on to the final question today. Yes, it's the final question today. Then I'm going to go down and then I'm going to go and just, like, you know, just cry in a corner because this is torture. Okay, so finally, question 6 is a question I can probably answer with a bit more confidence than all the other ones where I've just been like, I don't actually know. So yeah, so I do, like I said, I do apologise for the train wreck of a Q&A today. Be quiet, I'm busy. Anyway, question 6. Which do you prefer? Your Marshall cab with 70-watt speakers or your orange cab? Well, my orange cab and my Marshall cab have the same speakers. I didn't get on the orange cab that's down there. Originally came with 4 12-inch Voice of the World speakers, and I didn't get on with them. I didn't like the sound. It was a little bit too harsh. They're a bit more like they sounded a lot like vintage 30s or 25-watt greenback speakers to me. The Voice of the World speakers. They didn't quite have the smoothness. And I didn't like the breakup, but it was very kind of like, you know, especially on the clean channel, it was a very quick kind of breakup. I didn't particularly like that. So the 75s in like the JCM 900 cabs have always been a lot smoother. So actually, in my battered 70s cab here, this cab here, and this cab here, they've all got Celestion 75s in them. The G12T 75s, the black and white sticker speaker, they've all got them in. Because I just love them, and if it's not those speakers, it's just the bog standard MG speakers. Because I love those, well, the old MG speakers, not new ones, because they're terrible. But the old Celestion MG speakers, they're amazing as well. Especially after they've been played in for a while, they sound absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I don't really use any other speaker, and that kind of keeps my sound quite level. I would say the orange cab has, because it's got more depth to it, has more low end. It's a lot more, like, a lot more thumpy, whereas the Marshall cabs are a lot more kind of, they're more punchy. So say thumpy and punchy, everybody. Can I introduce to you Thumpy and Punchy, the duo? Anyway, it's like some kind of weird cartoon from the 50s. Thumpy and Punchy. Anyway, but yeah, the Marshall cabs are a bit brighter sounding, a bit more. They're a bit more kind of, yeah, they're a lot more punchy. They kick out the sound a lot more. The orange cab kicks out the sound a lot more, but it's got a lot more kind of like fatness and low end to it. Obviously, you know, it's a big box. So you know, there's a lot of frequencies going on in there. So I would say that, but I love them all. And again, I think it's because it's all the same speaker, so the sound is very level across the board. I mean, if I go from this cab to that cab, there's not a great deal of difference, and if I go from that cab to this cab, there's not a great deal of difference. They just all sound differently. The best cab I have in the world is probably this one. This one is definitely a close second. Well, actually, they're all amazing, but this one, the old 70s one, there's something very special about that cab, and I don't know what it is, but it sounds really nice. And I've got a gig on Friday. I'm going to use it for a gig on Friday. I'm going to give the orange the night off, and I'm going to take the top flexi and the bad B cab and use that, and give the orange the night off for a change. But yeah, as long as it's got 75-watt speakers in it, I don't really mind. And like I say, all my cabs have them in it, apart from my MG cabs, which just have the stock MG speakers, really. So yeah, I mean, I never got on with the Voice of the World speakers. I don't like vintage 30s. I don't like 25-watt greenbacks. I'm not a big fan of the 65-watt speakers either, or anything like that. I'm a very set in my ways person. When I find something I like, I just kind of tend to just use that, and if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. I'm not really one of those kind of like, I don't experiment a lot with things. Once I find something I like, I kind of stick to it like it's made of glue. When it, you know, I don't really deviate, so to say, from that. And you also asked, you're looking at a vintage V6 Strat, is there any suggestions? Yes. One of these, well, not one of these, they don't make one of these, but this originally was a V6 Icon in Boulevard Black. It was the Eric Clapton model with the relic, basically, the relic look. And I think out of all the vintages I've played, this is still the best one. And I did have two, but this one was the better one of the two, and I traded the other one. But this one is fantastic, and there's just something about the Boulevard Black ones. They're not much different to the other ones, but I don't know. I could be just being really weird in my head, but I really love this one. Yeah, it's just brilliant, and it looks cool. The Boulevard Black really does look cool. I mean, I redid mine white because I really wanted a white one, but they didn't do a white one with a maple neck, so I just resprayed it. But you can still see the black in places where it's original colour. But yeah, I mean that's what I would say. Another one is the oddly enough, the other vintage I really liked was the Sunburst one with the tortoiseshell guard with the humbucker in the back. That was a great Strat copy. That was amazing, and the way the cylinder cores matched up with the humbucker were really nice. You didn't have a crazy kind of volume jump. It was really cool. I forget what model is though. It's a V6. It's one of the distressed ones again. It's one of the relic ones again. But that was an amazing guitar as well. And I played that a lot. I played it when I was in Old Hat, and I wish I had bought it now, but I didn't, and that was my own stupid fault. But maybe one day I'll get one. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I would say out of all of them, the vintage V6 Icon in Boulevard Black is absolutely ridiculously good guitar. Awesome guitar. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question. Anyway, question 6 that was. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, I do apologise for the train wreck answers today, everybody. It was going to happen sooner or later, wasn't it, I suppose? But anyway. Nothing like putting yourself down, is there, Dave? Nothing like putting yourself down. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed this Q&A session, and I'll see you again on Friday for another video. Yeah, and I'll see you again very soon. Have a great morning, afternoon, and evening. Goodbye now.